Fourscore 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Oh shit, my bad, that's the wrong video. We're here today to talk about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. The treaty that Moors keep getting wrong. We're going to break down the reason for why it was created and what it actually says, because Moors are dumb. Enjoy. Alright guys, this is a bit old-timey, so bear with me. The Moroccan-American Treaty of Peace and Friendship, also known as the Treaty of Marrakesh, was a bilateral agreement signed in 1786 that established diplomatic and commercial relations between the United States and Morocco. It was the first treaty between the U.S. and an African Muslim nation, and as of 2025, it remains the longest unbroken diplomatic relationship in U.S. history. Yes, I know, I'm just as shocked as you guys are. So, nearly a decade before the treaty, in December 20th, 1777, the Moroccan Sultan Muhammad III decreed that American ships could freely enter its kingdom's port and enjoy safe passage through its waters, and became the first head of state to publicly recognize U.S. independence during the American Revolutionary War. So I'll actually get more into this specific thing as we actually read the U.S.-Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship from 1786, because yes, we're going to read that, and you might get a funny British voice because I think it's funny. So the background of this, or background of Muhammad III, or Sadiq Muhammad bin Abdallah, who came in power in 1757 and ruled until his death in 1790, which is right before this was signed. Prior to this, Morocco had experienced 30 literal years of internal battles, instability, and turmoil. This Muhammad III fella, he basically transformed the country politically, economically, and wanted to develop international trade, which is why he signed this altogether. But he began seeking one with the United States before the war, and then once the war ended, he welcomed people to come in and negotiate with him. And now we're going to get to what caused all of this specifically. The cause of all this was basically that after the American Revolutionary War, the U.S. merchant ships lost any protection they had under the British Royal Navy in the Mediterranean. So ships from the United States became prime targets for all of the Barbary states, Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli. Those pirates basically would routinely capture American ships, enslave its crew, unless whatever state they came from, America in this case, paid tribute or something along those lines. Morocco was the first state to seize a vessel in, I believe it was like 1784. It was named Betsy. Such a old-timey American ship name. And basically they did this to signal a willingness to negotiate rather than to demand a permanent tribute, which was something that other states, other countries rather, would do. They would say, hey, pay us this and you can do this. Morocco was like, hey, let's take a different route. Like I was talking about with the Sultan Muhammad III, he was trying to, for lack of a better term, he was trying to modernize Morocco. And when he was trying to modernize Morocco, he saw the independence of the United States. He decided to make peace with them, be semi-friends with them. And like I said, he wanted a friendly commercial relationship with the new nation and saw a treaty as a way to gain advantages that would basically distinguish Morocco from any other country in the region. And the United States did it because, let's be real, after the Revolutionary War, the United States was weak as fuck. And under the Articles of Confederation, yes, a sovereign citizen term, under the Articles of Confederation, they had no navy capable of fighting in the Mediterranean. We had ships during the Revolutionary War that were capable of fighting, I'm drawing a blank, not actually out to sea, but coastal fighting, if you catch my drift. We had that, but we couldn't exactly take all that to the Mediterranean and say, hey, what you doing? And we wanted to avoid paying annual tributes to all of the basically all of the pirate states over there because that would have just been stupidly expensive and would have tanked the nation 3 seconds after becoming a nation. So, like I stated, getting a treaty with Morocco was seen as the cheapest and quickest way to secure a release of American sailors and guarantee safe passage from then on. All right, you filthy animals, we're going to jump right into this. This is going to be the Treaty of Peace and Friendship from 1786. It is 25 points. I will jump in when necessary. There may be a cool UK guy who reads this next. Maybe it'll be BSBT bot. You never know. There is exactly. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see here. It's near the end, I'm not going to lie. It is part maybe 20, 21, 22, and 23. I think that's where Moors fuck everything up. Because this, while it's written old-timey, it's pretty straightforward. And it genuinely has nothing to do with anything that Moors talk about. And I'll jump in when I need to jump in for that part. But otherwise, enjoy the 25 parts of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship.
This is a treaty of peace and friendship established between us and the United States of America, which is confirmed and which we have ordered to be written in this book and sealed with our royal seal at our court of Morocco on the 25th day of the blessed month of Shaban in the year 1200. Trusting in God, it will remain permanent. 1. We declare that both parties have agreed that this treaty, consisting of 25 articles, shall be inserted in this book and delivered to the Honourable Thomas Barclay, the agent of the United States now at our court, with whose approbation it has been made and who is duly authorized on their part to treat with us concerning all the matters contained therein. 2. If either of the parties shall be at war with any nation whatever, the other party shall not take a commission from the enemy, nor fight under their colours. 3. If either of the parties shall be at war with any nation whatever, and take a prize belonging to that nation, and there shall be found on board subjects or effects belonging to either of the parties, the subjects shall be set at liberty, and the effects returned to the owners. And if any goods belonging to any nation with whom either of the parties shall be at war shall be loaded on vessels belonging to the other party, they shall pass free and unmolested, without any attempt being made to take or detain them. 4. A signal or pass shall be given to all vessels belonging to both parties, by which they are to be known when they meet at sea. And if the commander of a ship of war of either party shall have other ships under his convoy, the declaration of the commander shall alone be sufficient to exempt any of them from examination. 5. If either of the parties shall be at war and shall meet a vessel at sea belonging to the other, it is agreed that if an examination is to be made, it shall be done by sending a boat with 2 or 3 men only. And if any gun shall be fired and any injury done without reason, the offending party shall make good all damages. 6. If any more shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to His Majesty, the citizens shall immediately be set at liberty and the effects restored, and in like manner, if any more not a subject of these dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects, and bring them into any of the ports of His Majesty, they shall be immediately released, as they will then be considered as under His Majesty's protection. 7. If any vessel of either party shall put into a port of the other, and have occasion for provisions or other supplies, they shall be furnished without any interruption or molestation. 8. If any vessels of the United States shall meet with a disaster at sea and put into one of our ports to repair, she shall be at liberty to land and reload her cargo without paying any duty whatever. 9. If any vessel of the United States shall be cast on shore on any part of our coasts, she shall remain at the disposition of the owners, and no one shall attempt going near her without their approbation, as she is then considered particularly under our protection. And if any vessel of the United States shall be forced to put into our ports by stress of weather, or otherwise, she shall not be compelled to land her cargo, but shall remain in tranquillity until the commander shall think proper to proceed on his voyage. 10. If any vessel of either of the parties shall have an engagement with a vessel belonging to any of the Christian powers within gunshot of the ports of the other, the vessel so engaged shall be defended and protected as much as possible until she is in safety. And if any American vessel shall be cast on shore on the coast of Wadnoon or any coast thereabout, the people belonging to her shall be protected and assisted, until, by the help of God, they shall be sent to their country.
All right, guys, I'm actually going to read number 11 because it has the word more in it. And that's the whole point of the friggin' video. So 11 is, if we shall be at war with any Christian power or any of our vessels sail from the ports of the United States, no vessel belonging to the enemy shall follow until 24 hours after the departure of our vessels, and the same regulation shall be observed towards the American vessels sailing from our ports, be their enemies Moors or Christians. So just right there, number 11, it says Moors. This is actually a pretty common thing. If an enemy ship leaves, you can't just immediately leave with them. You gotta wait a hot second. In this treaty, it was 24 hours. Makes sense to me, but it had the word more in it, so I had to read it, and that's that.
12. If any ship of war belonging to the United States shall put into any of our ports, she shall not be examined on any pretense whatever, even though she should have fugitive slaves on board, nor shall the governor or commander of the place compel them to be brought on shore under any pretext, nor require any payment for them. 13. If a ship of war of either party shall put into a port of the other and salute, it shall be returned from the fort with an equal number of guns, not with more or less. 14. The commerce with the United States shall be on the same footing as is the commerce with Spain, or as that with the most favored nation for the time being, and their citizens shall be respected and esteemed and have full liberty to pass and repass our country and seaports whenever they please without interruption. 15. Merchants of both countries shall employ only such interpreters and such other persons to assist them in their business as they shall think proper. No commander of a vessel shall transport his cargo on board another vessel. He shall not be detained in port longer than he may think proper, and all persons employed in loading or unloading goods or in any other labor whatever shall be paid at the customary rates, not more and not less. 16. In case of a war between the parties, the prisoners are not to be made slaves, but to be exchanged one for another, captain for captain, officer for officer, and one private man for another. And if there shall prove a deficiency on either side, it shall be made up by the payment of 100 Mexican dollars for each person wanting. And it is agreed that all prisoners shall be exchanged in 12 months from the time of their being taken, and that this exchange may be effected by a merchant or any other person authorized by either of the parties.
17. Merchants shall not be compelled to buy or sell any kind of goods with such as they shall think proper, and may buy and sell all sorts of merchandise, with such as are prohibited to the other Christian nations.
18. All goods shall be weighed and examined before they are sent on board, and to avoid all detention of vessels, no examination shall afterwards be made, unless it shall be first proved that contraband goods have been sent on board, in which case the persons who took the contraband goods on board shall be punished according to the usage and custom of the country, and no other person whatever shall be injured, nor shall the ship or cargo incur any penalty or damage whatever. 19. No vessel shall be detained in port on any pretense whatever, nor be obliged to take on board any article without the consent of the commander, who shall be at full liberty to agree for the freight of any goods he takes on board.
All right, guys, it's me back again to read 20 and 21. I might do a few more here, 22, 23, depending on how much needs to be talked about. So 20, if any of the citizens of the United States or any persons under their protection shall have any disputes with each other, the consul shall decide between the parties, and whenever the consul shall require any aid or assistance from our government to enforce his decision, it shall be immediately granted to him. Now, in my head, what this means is that in their country, anytime any of this shit happens, they have somebody specifically appointed to deal with the situation. Seems pretty clear. 21. If a citizen of the United States shall kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice shall be rendered, the consul assisting at the trial, spelt T-R-Y-A-L, which is wild to me, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the consul shall not be answerable for him in any matter whatsoever. Pretty straightforward again. If a U.S. citizen does something to a Moor, or a Moor does something to a citizen in the country of Morocco, the country's law kicks in and equal justice will be rendered on every party. And again, it doesn't seem like a normal human being could get confused in any of those 2 points I just read.
23. The consuls of the United States of America shall reside in any seaport of our dominions that they shall think proper, and they shall be respected and enjoy all the privileges which the consuls of any other nation enjoy. And if any of the citizens of the United States shall contract any debts or engagements, the consul shall not be in any manner accountable for them, unless he shall have given a promise in writing for the payment or fulfilling thereof, without which promise in writing no application to him for any redress shall be made. 24. If any differences shall arise by either party, infringing on any of the articles of this treaty, peace and harmony shall remain notwithstanding in the fullest force, until a friendly application shall be made for an arrangement, and until that application shall be rejected, no appeal shall be made to arms. And if a war shall break out between the parties, 9 months shall be granted to all the subjects of both parties to dispose of their effects and retire with their property. And it is further declared that whatever indulgences in trade or otherwise shall be granted to any of the Christian powers, the citizens of the United States shall be equally entitled to them. 25. This treaty shall continue in full force with the help of God for 50 years. We have delivered this book into the hands of the before-mentioned Thomas Barclay on the first day of the blessed month of Ramadan in the year 1200. I certify that the annexed is a true copy of the translation made by Isaac Cardoza Nunez, interpreter at Morocco, of the treaty between the Emperor of Morocco and the United States of America.
That's the video. I don't know why I made this. I guess I'm just over the monotonous coverage of stupidity and figured, hey, we could all learn about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship from like 300 years ago. But yeah, that's the video. I can't for the life of me figure out how Moors read what I just put out and think, yes, that definitely means that I can do whatever the fuck I want in America. Like, at no point does it say that anywhere in that treaty. But they'll keep trying. But yeah, like I said, that's the video. Please like and subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe, you have to spend a week in BSBT's motel room. And nobody wants that. Peace, guys.